And how is that for a title? Does your advertising campaign suck? What do I even mean by that? Well, this video is dedicated to any person that is thinking of starting their own detailing business, as well as any current business owner of a detailing business. Could be 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, matter not. I'm surprised at how many guys that I talk to that have been in business for a long time but have not really done a deep dive on this topic, which is another way of talking about branding, which in many ways is rather a boring topic until you're a business owner. Then it can mean all the difference in the world. Sidebar, Your Honor. I know that some of you like short form videos. I'm just a long form video kind of guy. But I have a solution for you. More specifically, my good friend named Sean Peterson of Blue Tech Mobile Detailing has come up with a solution for you. You can go to his channel, Shine Like a Pro AZ. And what he has done is he takes videos from both my channels, this channel and Detail Darren, and he edits them down. You can think of them as like the Cliff Note version of my long form videos. But see, I'm a detail kind of guy, not just as a business, but in person. Why? Because I know that the real answers of any topic lie within the details. Ergo, that's why I like the details, because I want clarity, I want information. And now back to our regularly scheduled programming in my late night DJ voice. Thank you, Chris Voss. Branding, what is it? In very simple terms, you are your brand. In less simple terms, and I will be toggling back and forth between you in audience land and my screen. And this is part of my course. And yes, you will find the links below, detailvault.com. You're starting to pick up on the theme, which is, oh, Darren's marketing for his course that he's about to release in a few months. Yes, I am, and welcome here. In the meantime, regardless of whether you're going to start a business or not, or regardless of whether you have a current business or not, I want to deliver some value in these videos. So keep tuning in. Simple terms, you are your brand. In less simple terms, think of brand as a personality. It's what sets a business apart in a crowded marketplace and forms a deep connection with consumers, influencing their choices and fostering lasting relationships. Boring, right? Yeah, I get it, until it's part of your world, and it should be part of your world. A brand is much more than just a logo or catchy slogan. I've had many over the years. It's the sum of all the experiences, emotions, and perceptions that a customers associate with a particular business, in this case, your business or your future business. Think of the top companies in the world: Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Walmart, Visa. Now, if I was to ask you on those 5 companies, what would be your overall opinion or perception of those companies? Every one of you, even if you've never given it some thought, if I was to ask you, I'm standing there face to face with you, I would say, okay, what is your perception of Apple? You would come up with probably 3 talking points. They make great phones. Oh, I love the style of their phones. Or I love their operating system. There's going to be something. You will have formed an opinion. And I could go down that list and I can ask you about every one of those companies and your formed opinion. You know what creates that opinion? It's called branding. Everything they do through advertising and marketing, along with your experience with that company, if you've had any experience, will come together to form your opinion, which is branding. Now, in my course, I actually developed this topic and I've cut it down into 5 specific categories: visibility, trust, competency, consistency, and reputation. Now, I'm not going to bore you with all the details, but I will cover 2 of them. The first one is visibility. What does that mean? Well, think of visibility at a physical level. Everything you do, say, like literally at a physical level, this is what visibility is about. Just like a product in a store, you are visible to the world. Whether you intend to or not, people observe your actions, behavior, and choices. Therefore, they then form an opinion based on those things. For example, how you walk. Literally something as simple as that. And I'm pretty sure most people do not give any thought to this. And this is where I will insert a personal story from my past. Now, as a child, I was very self-aware. I was also had a high level of just general awareness. And just so you know, there is a difference. You know how I know this? Well, because I've studied it, for one, and I've also done my own social experiment where I literally ask people, and I can do this on many subjects. This is one of many subjects. So, for example, what I will do is I will literally ask a person, hey, do you know the difference between general awareness and self-awareness? Now, most people will give it some thought and they'll be able to give me a pretty good answer. But then I ask them this, do you believe that you have a high degree of awareness, or do you believe you have a high degree of self-awareness? So you can be very aware of your surroundings, but are you self-aware of what you do, how you present yourself to the world, how you look to the world, how you talk to the world, how you laugh to the world, everything at a physical level. For example, when I was in high school, I had someone announce to me that, oh, hey Darren, why do you bounce when you walk? And I thought, I don't know. I was unaware that I bounce when I walk. It wasn't until I saw myself walking in front of a very reflective surface that I looked over and realized, oh my gosh, I actually bounce when I walk. I look like a little child, and yet there I am in high school. And cool, now I have one more thing in life to be self-aware or self-conscious about, so thank you very much. But actually, I appreciated it in the long term because then I thought, okay, I don't really want to continue to look like a child by the way I walk as an adult. Therefore, maybe I need to finesse the way I walk so that I look a little more adult-like. Ergo, a little more professional-like in the context of a business. I talked about the walking, gave you a personal experience. How about talking? Do you slur your words? Do you have a potty mouth? Do you talk like a hillbilly? Do you talk too softly? Do you talk too loudly? Do you even use words properly? As in, you know the definition of the word and you use it properly in the right context. So everything you literally do, in fact, we are taught that communication is only 7% verbal. You know what that means? If you want to be very literal about it, which is what exactly I want you to do, is that 93% of communication that happens between people is nonverbal. How you look, talk, walk, as in talking, I mean word choice. For example, what kind of jokes do you tell? What kind of jokes do you laugh at? So yes, that's an audible noise, but it's not the traditional verbal communication skills. I hope your mind's beginning to melt to some degree because I hope you're pulling back and saying, oh my gosh, I in fact really don't have a whole lot of self-awareness. In fact, I will give you two very specific examples. One of them has to do with the detailing world. Now, I was working with a fellow detailer that had at least 10 years under his belt. We were working together on a detail project. He showed up with dander and pet hair all over his shirt. And I thought to myself, this is my internal dialogue, WTF, this does not make sense. So what he represents, the world of detailing, clean, organization, detailing, and what he's now showing up in person, okay, my brain's confused. It's out of alignment. His actions are not in alignment with what he should, I think, be representing as a business owner, which is neatness, tidiness, cleanliness, which once again has to go down to self-awareness. Other example, one of my favorite ones, ask anyone this, hey, do you consider yourself a good driver? I'm pretty sure 9 out of 10 times you're going to get, oh yeah, I'm a great driver. And yet, when you observe this person driving, you think, okay, not so good. But yet, you think you're a good driver. Well, that's where you would have to define what it means to be a good driver. Because you can take a good driver that's really just a good driver, but they're highly inconsiderate. So they'll make a right-hand turn without using their signal. They'll make a left-hand or a U-turn from the far right lane, or when they're making a right turn, they don't pull over to the right. They want to make a right turn from the very left of the entire right lane. And you're like, oh, you actually can drive. What you really are is just an inconsiderate person. Maybe it's because you're inconsiderate, or maybe you just don't have the self-awareness to realize that you're doing the very things that you get pissed off when other people do them. And now it's like the pot calling the kettle black, as the saying goes. Okay, self-awareness. To put it in the context of the world of detailing, which I've done to a small degree so far, that's where are you dressed appropriately? So let me give you two examples from my real world of detailing. Now, let's say for the first 6 years, I didn't have any what you would call business uniforms, business shirts. But past that, and I've been at it over 35 years, so that's a pretty long spread of time. I've always had company shirts. I've always changed my design every few years, but I've always been complimented on my choice in style and shirts. And so if it only happened a couple times, I probably wouldn't be sharing it with you, but it's happened throughout the course of my career. Point is I'm displaying professionalism, and it's also appropriate based on what I'm doing as a business owner. Secondly, I had an employee, and before the days of the internet, you had to conduct your little interview over the phone, and really, I really didn't know what I was doing. In defense of the moment, I really didn't know what I was doing, because if this guy had shown up dressed the way he was going to dress the first day he showed up to detail cars, it would have been like, hell no. So it's like, dude, did you show up to work, or did you show up to try to, I don't know, impress the women? Because he had nice jeans on, a belt with a metal belt buckle on it, and if you're an experienced detailer, you know why that's a no-no, aside from the other obvious I'm pointing out, and cowboy boots. Now, I have worn cowboy boots. Not the most comfortable shoes, even though they're not shoes, in the world to wear. Certainly not with detailing, where you're getting up and down, crouching up and down, climbing up ladders, step ladders, climbing in and out of back seats. It's like cowboy boots, probably not the best choice as far as working shoes. But there he was. It's like, oh my God, what have I gotten myself into here? Okay, do you show up on time? Are you punctual? Punctuality displays professionalism. Punctuality displays to you that you value your customers' time, that you are considerate of their time, that you follow through on your promises. So if you say you're going to show up at 10 a.m., but you don't show up till 10:15 a.m., and there's no excuse for it, or you haven't given your customer warning along the way that you're going to be running late due to traffic, then guess what? You suck. You're not punctual. You're not professional. In fact, I remember very vividly knocking on a door precisely at 10 a.m. and my customer opened the door and said, "Wow, you nailed that. Like, you're the most punctual person I've ever dealt with." And I'm thinking, okay, cool. Although I do this with everyone, but thumbs up. Thank you for noticing, which goes into branding. All the forms of communication that you're communicating to the world, your customers specifically. Are you a professional? Do you take your business seriously? Do you represent someone that's going to bring value to the equation? Third point, do you keep your work vehicle clean, neat, and organized? Once again, I'm going to share from my real world experience, because I've had so many customers comment on the organization of my van, which I literally would do about every 6 months, because I'm constantly trying new products. I'm constantly figuring out ways to be more efficient. So just to clarify, you have effective, efficient, effectiveness, efficiency. Efficiency, think about that as the process. Effective has to do with the end results. So why would you even care about that as a business owner? Well, because it all goes into the mix to determine in a large way how profitable you are as a business owner. See how I just took two boring subjects and you're like, ooh, efficiency, effectiveness, woo, I don't care, Darren. It's like, oh, tell you what, you're going to care when you realize you're not very profitable. And now you just have an expensive hobby instead of an actual viable business that's truly profitable. So I was constantly working to engineer every form of redundancy out of the equation with my process. And in doing that, you have to be organized. But the point in the context of branding has to do with what I'm communicating to my customer. Once again, professionalism. I take my job seriously, which is my business. I value my customer and I want to bring value to my customer. So it's a form of communication in the form of organizational skills. Okay, second point, and I will stop there. Who knows how long I will take to stopping it. Trust. Trust is tricky. Without trust, nothing happens. So as a beginner, like when you first engage with someone on the telephone, let's pretend they have called you up and they're looking for detailing services. That trust moment begins with the very first word that you speak. The tonality of your voice, the cadence of your words. How professional are you at answering their questions? So trust, it is tricky. Now, trust can be implied through your words, and I'm reading here now, but can only really be developed through your actions. Why? Because words are cheap. Actions mean something. Words are easy, actions not so easy. People will always trust your actions more than they trust your words. What often happens is a person's words and actions are out of alignment. That is a lack of integrity. When your words and your actions match up, that's called integrity. When they're out of alignment, that's called, well, no integrity. What often happens is that you betray your words through your actions. And now you've begun to develop this thing called mistrust, which then leads into outright distrust. And there is a difference. Let me make a distinction. Mistrust, not good. Distrust, really bad. Mistrust can often be recovered. Distrust usually cannot be repaired. It is much easier to maintain trust than to try to recover trust. You can think of it in these terms. Every single thing you do or say will either enhance your trust and professionalism between you and your customer or diminish it, like literally everything. I think of my business in those terms, and I think of my branding and my advertising campaign in those terms. Every single thing I do. So to come full circle, does your advertising suck? Because your advertising is your branding. If your advertising sucks, your branding sucks. If your branding sucks, then you suck. If you suck, your business sucks. I don't want you to suck. I don't want to suck. I'm constantly trying to improve by sucking less and doing better. I want the same for you. Because in the end, we all advertise. The problem is very few of us know exactly what we're advertising. And with that said, I hope you have learned something. If you've learned a single useful thing in this episode, I want you to give it a thumbs up. But how about this? How about if you leave a comment, not just for my viewing pleasure, but for other people's viewing pleasure that come in. Maybe share an example from your own world. Maybe you could ask a question. I may not be able to answer it. Maybe Sean Peterson could answer it because he's in direct contact with me on the regular. Maybe someone else with some experience can answer it for you also. Point is leave a comment. And with that said I will see you in the next video.